You're watching Football Daily, and today we're looking at another 10 players who threw away their reputations. 10. Carlos Tevez. After a long and controversial career, it all seemed to be the perfect end for Carlos Tevez when he rejoined his boyhood club Boca Juniors in 2015. The footballing romantic in all of us wanted to see El Apache help the Buenos Aires side lift another Copa Libertadores. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, as the Argentinian was lured to the swimming pool filled with cash that is the Chinese Super League, earning reportedly £615,000 per week. Now, this is a monstrous amount of money and most people would do anything for it, but Carlitos has some form when it comes to chasing the Benjamins. Known for going on strike to play golf in his homeland while raking in the cash for Manchester City, it's safe to say the striker doesn't give two shits about his public image. Although he did say he doesn't earn as much as the media suggested. So, poor Carlos, I hope that he's saving. 9. Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell, affectionately known as Judas by Spurs fans, has been the centre of controversy his entire career. Captaining Spurs at just 22 and guiding them to the League Cup in '99, he decided to join bitter rivals Arsenal on a free transfer in 2001. He won the double in his first season, became a member of the Invincibles, and even scored in the Champions League final against Barcelona. But some of the defender's comments during his campaign to become Mayor of London have left his fans bemused, to put it nicely. Sol hates renewable energy resources, claiming that they will destroy his historic and beautiful view. He's claimed not to be able to afford mansion tax after selling his London home for millions, and he described a time with his father-in-law as lovely when they went out and shot 30 birds. Sol's comments may have given us all a cheap laugh, but then you realise that he's not joking at all. 8. Bastian Schweinsteiger. It feels harsh to put Basti on this list, but as one of the greatest Germans to grace football, his decision to move to Man United from Bayern back in 2015 hasn't quite panned out the way he would have envisioned it. After winning the World Cup in 2014, Schweinsteiger received a hero's welcome upon return to the Allianz Arena, but not many Bavarians were expecting the following season to be Basti's last at Bayern. Feeling pressured to start the midfield talisman whenever he was fit, Guardiola and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge agreed that it was best for all parties if Schweinsteiger moved on in the summer, and he left for Manchester in a deal worth €15 million. Bastian stated that United were the only club he would have left Bayern for, and being reunited with Louis van Gaal was something he couldn't turn down. Knee injuries limited him to just 18 league appearances, and when Jose Mourinho came in, he found himself alienated from the first team altogether. Mourinho made the German train with the youth side, drawing criticism from former teammate Michael Ballack, who accused the Portuguese of showing no respect to the midfielder. But after just 33 appearances, it seems as if Schweiny's time at Old Trafford is coming to an end. 7. Lothar Matthäus. As good a player as Matthäus was, his career post-retirement has been nothing short of a shambles. The man who captained West Germany to World Cup '90 glory and was once described by Diego Maradona as his toughest opponent ever seems to have fallen out of love with the beautiful game. Lothar started his managerial career in 2001 with Rapid Vienna, before making his way across the globe to Serbia, Brazil and Israel, even managing the Hungarian and Bulgarian national sides, all to varying degrees of success. He won just 3 matches out of 11 in his final stint for the Lions. No side seems to want to go near Matthäus with a 10-foot barge pole, and that's not just because of poor results. Away from his 4 marriages, his erratic nature was seen at Atletico Paranense, where he quit after just 3 months despite winning 70% of his games. Claiming he had personal issues and would be back in a few days, Matthäus went AWOL for 2 weeks before faxing in his resignation, and he refused to pay the hefty phone bill he'd racked up in Brazil. He didn't even go back to collect his belongings. A true maverick. 6. Sam Allardyce. A man with humble beginnings, Fat Sam truly grafted his way to Premier League management. Allardyce didn't have the most decorated of playing careers, featuring for the likes of Sunderland, Millwall, Huddersfield and Preston. But he rose to prominence as manager of Bolton Wanderers, where he helped assemble a team containing the likes of Gary Speed, Ricardo Gardner, Kevin Davis, Real Madrid icon Fernando Hierro, and of course JJ Okocha. The blend of English grit with foreign flair not only established the club as a Premier League mainstay, but also as a contender for a European spot when they finished 6th in 2005. After ensuring safety at Newcastle, West Ham and Sunderland, Allardyce was given the opportunity to manage England, his dream job. Technically, it could be argued that Big Sam is England's most successful manager, as his win record stands at 100%. But that's only because his reign lasted one game, after being implicated in a Panorama documentary for taking bungs. If the sacking wasn't punishment enough, he's now managing Crystal Palace. 5. John Terry. Captain, leader, legend. John Terry hasn't even hung up his boots yet, but it's safe to say that when he does call it a day, he'll never receive the recognition his talent deserved. And that's mainly down to JT not exactly being a great human being. 4 Premier Leagues, 5 FA Cups, a Europa League and a Champions League, Terry is about as successful as an English player can be. A one-club man and at one point the world's best central defender, John Terry's personal life has always cast a shadow over his playing career. And for good reason. Taking the piss out of 9/11 to American tourists at Heathrow, assaulting a bouncer, getting fined for parking in a disabled parking space, banging Wayne Bridges' ex-missus, and also racially abusing Anton Ferdinand. It's easy to see why the man from Barking is so universally hated. And that's not even mentioning him going full-kit wanker after Chelsea's Champions League triumph. What a dild. 4. Gary Neville. Everyone's favourite pundit, it's easy to forget the remarkable playing career the England fullback had, winning 8 Premier Leagues, 3 FA Cups and 2 Champions Leagues, all at Manchester United. After retiring, he formed a formidable and unlikely partnership with Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports, with the level of tactical analysis on Monday Night Football unseen before on British TV. Here's looking at you, Alan Shearer. But after 5 years of criticising managers in the media, it was time that Neville tested his own coaching ability, and he took the massive step of accepting the Valencia job. It was a baptism of fire for the man from Bury. He couldn't speak the language and had 0 management experience beforehand. And surprisingly, it didn't end well for Neville. After 16 league games, he was given the boot, winning just 3 of those and leaving Los Che 6 points above the relegation zone. 3. René Higuita. The Colombian showman finds himself on one of our lists again, but this time it isn't for his goal-scoring expertise, but more to do with the fact that he profited from kidnapping during the middle of his playing career. El Loco, who of course is good mates with Diego Maradona, got caught up as a middleman for the infamous Pablo Escobar and Carlos Molina, being the person entrusted with delivering ransoms. Most notably, he helped free Molina's daughter, and for doing this, he was rewarded with a nice sum of around 60 grand. He was arrested shortly after for his role in the kidnapping and was incarcerated for 7 months, and though he left without charge eventually, he missed the 1994 World Cup. Well, we hope it was worth it, René. 2. The tax avoiders. Essentially stealing millions of euros from the government isn't enough to completely ruin a player's legacy, but those who go out of their way to avoid tax certainly end up looking like dicks. Lionel Messi, Neymar, Mascherano and Alexis Sanchez, I'm sensing a theme here, have all been given suspended prison sentences related to tax fraud. Although none of them will ever see time behind bars, there is a moral issue here, and it's not a victimless crime, because the money would have gone to provide healthcare and public services around the country and build schools. Maybe it's time that we put a little bit more shame onto these footballers and their agents and advisors who go out of their way to feed their greed. 1. Davor Suker. Former Croat striker Davor Suker had a remarkable goal-scoring record for club and country, netting 45 times in 69 games for his homeland, whilst also playing for the likes of Sevilla, Real Madrid and Arsenal. But after his retirement and involvement with the Croatian FA, many are starting to see the legend in a slightly different light. You may remember in Euro 2016, when Croatia were winning a group game against the Czech Republic, that their own fans started to throw flares on the pitch. This was to try and get the game abandoned in order to protest the FA's corruption, which is mainly down to Davor Suker and his right-hand man, Zdravko Mamic, with the one-time Dinamo chairman reportedly having slavery contracts with former Dinamo players Luka Modric and Eduardo da Silva. The Brazilian-born striker is perhaps the worst affected. Apparently, he was tricked into signing away 50% of his salary to Mamic for the entirety of his career. With shit like that happening behind the scenes, it's no wonder that Croats are saddened with the state of their football federation, and why Davor Suker has gone from hero to zero in their eyes.
So we hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to check out more of our videos, then click here on screen. Don't forget to like and subscribe and get on our Snapchat and our Twitter.